You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
Hey, Peanuts! Welcome to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show, a Wednesday night show that features the sports opinions of the fans sitting up in peanut heaven. This show airs Wednesday nights here on Beaver County Radio, and it is brought to you by TK Roofing Specialist in Elwood City. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Now, let's introduce your host for the show, Scott Kincaid and Brian Pasquale.
Welcome to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale. I'm in the St. Barnabas studio here with co-host Scott Kincaid. Our producer Ryan is here to take your calls at 724-774-1888. We would like to thank our sponsor, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all of your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. What a beautiful day it was out there today.
Amazing.
It was like the perfect day. Ryan, did you do anything outside?
No, I never do anything outside. But you know what? This gave me the opportunity to wear long pants. You notice I have jeans on today, and I haven't had jeans on for months and months, and it felt very odd and awkward. But here I am.
Society thinks.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, what a wonderful weather day. I mean, it was perfect.
I enjoyed it. Got to see all the orange flowers along the Pennsylvania Highway.
The cones and the barrels.
Fresh smell of asphalt.
I'm not an outside guy, but I know you guys do the roofing. So what about you? Did you get to enjoy the weather?
I was demoing a bathroom today. I was ripping out a bathroom. But it was nice because, you know, I had to take stuff outside, and it was just perfect weather. The customer, she was doing yard work, and it was beautiful. It was like low 70s.
Nice.
Perfect. We were finishing up the raccoon job. Do you remember the raccoon job I told you about last week? So we fixed the roof, and now we were building the deterrent cage thing to keep the raccoons out of the roof. Cut my hand about 15 times, but the weather was nice. Mount Washington's beautiful, so you always get to drive over that lookout. I love that lookout. I think of all the major cities, there's very few that have such a great lookout point over their beautiful city as Pittsburgh does. If you had an opportunity, do the incline. It is so neat to do it if you really like the not afraid of heights. I'm a roofer, so
yeah.
I remember a girl I was friends with in high school. She actually went to Marshall, and her boyfriend, he was from I think Morgantown, and he was saying that this is for you youngsters out there. This is before even MapQuest or any sort of cell phones and GPS. And he was coming up down 51 just south of Pittsburgh, and he was like, I've got to be getting close to the city. And he went through the Liberty Tunnels, and boom, it hit him. And he was like, it was the most awesome experience just seeing the city for the first time.
There really isn't any sites that are like that, in my opinion, Brian. Not around here, anyway. When you come through that tunnel and see the city, it's one of the most amazing sights that I've ever seen.
One of my friends that works with us, Dennis, if you're out there listening, which I know he's not, but he's
everybody
a
listens, Scott.
I have a lot of Latino friends. Mm-hmm. This guy's a soccer fan. He's all about soccer. And so, anyhow, he's a really good friend. And he got married last weekend. Friday, I want to say.
A Friday wedding. All right.
No.
I think that's lucky.
I think it was. Because I saw him Friday morning. He goes, I'm getting married today.
It's real lucky because you don't have to go to work that day.
Right. And then the next day he's on my Facebook, and it was his birthday.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow. So, needless to say, he called me Tuesday. I've been trying to reach him. He called me Tuesday.
Hey,
I'm back. I don't blame you. I wish I could do things like that still.
Speaking of being back, the Pittsburgh Steelers are back in what? First place?
They are in first place.
All right.
And they sit above the other teams that are in first place in the division because of the tiebreaker.
So the Miami Dolphins are currently the 1 seed in the AFC. And Ryan, who's the number 2 seed?
The number 2 seed is the Pittsburgh Steelers, everybody. Yes, This is true.
Yes. This reminds me of the Pirates season early in the year. Who's the first team? They're 20-8, the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Do you
think it's going to maintain that? Do you think they can consistently, like... stay there?
I do.
Do you feel comfortable?
I do, and I'm going to tell you why here in a
This is
second.
going to be a great show, guys. You guys really need to stay tuned to this one.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so we're a minus 14. Check this out. As a team, point-wise, we're minus 14 in point differential. The Dolphins are like a plus 50, okay? So here we are. We're sitting at the number 2 seed. We're nowhere as good as, pretty much every team that we're ahead of. But because we win that, we lose our only game to the NFC, San Francisco 49ers. That by tiebreaker, if you go down the tiebreakers,
correct.
places us in second place in the
And that's
conference. It is great. And
I do see light. I see hope. I don't see us being the number 2 seed at the end of the year.
I don't either.
I don't even see us being the number 2 seed now, but just by the way that the ball bounces, we are. But yes, I do, to answer your question, I think this is going to be a very similar season to last year. Once you take out the Eagles and the Buffalo game early on, because you notice these games are very similar to last year. The 26 to 22, 22 to 18. These were the kind of scores that we had late in the season when we were beating the Raiders, when we were beating the Falcons. It's a very similar team. It's a very ugly style that we're playing. But you know what? This could turn into a 1980s style Pittsburgh Steelers. The good defense, the offense just has to do enough. Win a Super Bowl, I think we're way out of the question. That's out of the conversation. But I do think this could be a semi-successful year because the schedule is – look down the schedule. There are a bunch of soft teams, and I think that the Steelers can hang with what we have going on in front of us.
Well, we have the Texans up next, and they're actually better than I thought they were going to be. The C.J. Stroud thing has really surprised probably everyone.
Yeah.
Having success this early. But the Raiders game, I was disappointed. When you're up 23-6 going into the fourth quarter and you make it a game when it should not have been a game, I don't like our offense just shut down in the fourth quarter. And then there was a couple mystery calls that I think kept the Raiders alive.
I think the defense made a statement in this game to me that,
My best friend TJ Watt.
And you know what? If you talk to every old head who ever watched football and you listen to the great John Madden, defensive teams win Super Bowls. And so that's what surprised me when you said that there's no way this could be a Super Bowl team, when in all actuality, what I think I'm seeing, it's no flash. You're not selling Subway sandwiches.
Right.
Maybe TJ Watt could. I'm sure he probably could sell a Subway sandwich, but I mean, that's not the model for that position as much. But I could see that next year. I could see him selling big market and being in that level of high profile player in the NFL at his position that took his team somewhere, because defense wins. You got to have a defense.
You got to have a defense, but I think what a lot of people misconstrue is this. When you think of a defense winning a championship, you automatically think of the 2000 Ravens, the 85 Bears, the 03 Buccaneers. These teams had amazing defenses, and we're going to have an amazing, not a really good, but an amazing defense if we're going to want to have any kind of chance the way that these two teams had.
Who has the most tackles on the defense right now?
It's most certainly not TJ Watt. I know that.
Not TJ Watt, right. So that's why I wanted to just steer away from him, because I know Brian started to cringe when I said Subway advertisements for this guy, because he doesn't believe in him.
Talk about a hole in one. That's the only commercial I think of
Right.
from Happy Gilmore.
Quan Alexander,
I was going to say Alexander,
has
yes.
been a beast that I think you're going to hear his name a lot more coming down the road. I think you're going to see a lot more. Minkah Fitzpatrick is obviously already a star, but he's a star because he doesn't know where to tackle the guy.
Yeah, what do we? He goes low and hurts Nick Chubb. Then the next week he goes high, and to me, it was it should have been a flag, and it was. I've heard so many Steelers fans this past week saying it was a clean hit. He hit him with the shoulder. I'm like, the crown of his helmet hit the quarterback in the head, and the NFL is just not going to allow that.
Where do they want him to hit a player is what I want to know. If they get up there and with a board and explain to him where to hit it, I'm sure he's going to be just fine. Please, though, explain where it's okay to hit.
It was the perfect tackle. It was an
I
awesome
agree.
play. It was
On a
lights
court.
out, but at the same time, in today's NFL, that's going to be a penalty, and it is what it is. It's not dirty, but I don't know what you do.
Did he get fined for it?
I don't know. I haven't heard that. He might have, but I didn't
hear. It
hear.
comes down the pike. They always hide that. So it's like third page news down the road. Oh, he got fined for this, if it's a small fine. It's crazy how the NFL can just find person.
And it's crazy how they could, as you mentioned, it was 23 to 6 in the second half, 23-3. It's funny how the NFL keeps these games interesting, isn't it? I'm just saying, I'm not going conspiracy theory on everybody, but it's just funny how all these games come down to the last drive of a game.
It gets you watching that extra half hour at the end. Or
I think it comes from professional gamemanship from coaching on both sides, because, and we can argue this, like, we don't like the way the game plan is, but we don't know what the game plan is against the opponent. And so bear with me, Ryan.
Yeah.
As we look at the research of the Steelers, who've won, like you said, they're the number 2 team right now.
At the moment, yes.
Okay, so third down conversions on offense, they've 15 out of 44. That's terrible.
I think
That's absolutely terrible, right?
It's about 36%.
But then let's go to the defense. The opponents have had 15 first downs out of 42. That's only 2 more first downs than us. And so it's so easy. It's so fun to watch an offense, to run a touchdown. It's just different. When you look at these stats, it's a balance, and they're winning in the balance. They're winning a lot of these things and a couple of splash plays.
I think
It takes those couple of splash plays. Not this last game. Or was this last game? 2 weeks ago. The interception for a touchdown right off the bat.
right.
That splash play was, a difference maker in these stats.
Well,
that we're talking about.
Looking forward to the Texans, I believe C.J. Stroud has like the highest percentage of third down conversions. So we'll see.
He hasn't played the Steelers yet.
I know he hasn't played number 90.
Right. I mean, we look at this in 2 different ways. We look at the team overall, and you are brainwashed into quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers. It's just a few players, and even great defenses take a long time to get. They need to be 1972 Dolphins or 1985 Chicago Bears type of defense to get any recognition as a team, as a defense, and that's what you got to have. And I think that's what we have here, and they've proven it to me by winning these last 2 games in a weird way that nobody else can explain, because we want Patrick Mahomes. We want to be flashy. We want our guy to sell the Subway. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. Am I reading this correctly? I'm on the bandwagon, even though he's dragging me by a chain. He's dragging me by a chain behind the bandwagon. Okay, so I'm on your team here, but this is the reason why they're winning, is because of defense. And I say kudos to what they're doing there. Who do you give the credit to? If you listen to Tomlin, I heard somebody say today, you'd have to give me $100 to go. They'd be handing out $100 at the door for me to go watch this live. I don't want to hear this guy talk. He's a horrible person to listen to on the television talk about it. You're more confused of whether or not you even want to be a Steeler fan after he talks about the game. And so, but is it him and that's his way of dealing with it? And does he get the credit, or does he surrounded himself by some really brilliant people, Billy Bean football type people that said, we just have to match the numbers. Doesn't matter if we don't get 20 first downs in 3 games. As long as they don't get 20 first downs in 3 games, we could win these games.
We got outplayed in these both of these last 2 games as far as numbers went, and we won both of these games. So it's not going to be by any means a normal season. I think this year is going to be very odd. It's going to be peculiar, like last year was. And who knows where? Who knows where we're going to finish?
The Steelers' defense is very
yes.
How much time do we have before a break?
We got about a minute and a half.
All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about Kenny Pickett, because I did see some signs of offense. I know I reached out to you when I was watching it, and I thought so. I'd like to get into that when we get back. Before we go to break, though, I want to talk about this gutters that are going to be filled with these leaves. They're beautiful. We love fall.
That's a great time of year.
But if you don't get your gutters clean, what happens is the water doesn't drain out your gutter, and then when the ice hits, it freezes, and then all of a sudden your roof is a disaster. And all you have to do is go check us out at TEK Roofing Specialist on Facebook, or just send me an email at TEK Roofing Specialist at outlook.com. Schedule your gutter cleaning. I'm $150 for a gutter cleaning. That also includes a free inspection. If your gutters need a little extra seal in here, I don't take you to the cleaners. It's $150, people. Take care of your roof. This is the maintenance part that you didn't know about, but you will if your roof becomes a problem and the ice becomes this thing. What happens if you're having holidays in November? You didn't get your gutters clean, and Edna's coming over, and she slips on the steps because you couldn't get rid of the ice that you created this giant icicle thing. Don't be the guy blamed for Aunt Edna's hip replacement. Call TEK Roofing Specialists, 412-969-1167. I want to take care of all your roofing needs, and we'll be back to talk about Kenny Pickett and the future.
Edna is also.
Right. All right, guys, you've been listening to WBVP 99.3, and you can check us out at Beaver County Radio Facebook Live. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
TEK Roofing Specialists are known for quality, honesty, and efficiency. You can reach them at 412-969-1167. Whether it's a small leak or a new roof, TEK Roofing Specialists will fix the problem. Check out TEK Roofing on Facebook to see quality work they've done. TEK Roofing uses only the best products like Tamco's Titan XT Premium Shingles with a 160-mile-per-hour wind warranty. That's TEK Roofing Specialists, 412-969-1167. Insured, licensed, and certified.
Hey, it's time to wake up, Beaver Valley. Hi, this is Pastor David Grove from the Church of the Redeemed of Beaver Valley. After over 2 years on the air, it seems that some of you still cannot get up in time. So I've got good news. Wake Up Beaver Valley is moving to a new time, now airing from 9 to 10, this and every Saturday morning. It's time to wake up and turn our hearts back to the cross of Jesus Christ. So I invite you to wake up early this Saturday. To find out more, it's Wake Up Beaver Valley, Saturdays from 9 until 10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio. God bless you.
Tune into the Coach's Corner on Beaver County Radio every Wednesday night from 7 to 8 p.m. You can tune in by turning your radio dial to Beaver County Radio or by clicking the audio streaming apps on your phone or computer. You can also watch the video stream of the show on Facebook Live or on our YouTube channel. The Coach's Corner is being brought to you by Keystone Wellness Program, Patriot Home Care, the Grand Valley Inn, the Community College of Beaver County, the Beaver County Career and Technical Center, Falcones Moon Township Ford, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, St. Barnabas Dental and Dr. Peter J. Montini, Goldberg Persky and White, Friendly Federal Credit Union, the J&J Spratt Funeral Home, Geneva College, Carver Construction, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Electric Garage Door Sales in Monaca, Beaver County Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Nissan, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Fisher's New Brighton Foodland, and Beaver County Radio.
Hey, Peanuts!
Welcome back to the Hey Peanut Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale. I'm in the St. Barnabas studio here with co-host Scott Kincaid. Our producer Ryan is here to take your calls at 724-774-1888. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all of your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. He's having a special for gutter cleaning for $150 for almost every home. I guess if you have a mansion, you might have to pay more than $150. Is that what's going on, Scott?
No, I think if
151.
Well, if you have
Do I hear 152? No, but Scott's going to go the extra mile, too. He's not just going to clean out your gutters.
If you have a mansion, I want to be your roofer.
For sure.
I will clean your gutters for $150 just to get to know you. Maybe have you down on the radio show and tell us how you made all your money.
Right, yeah, we'll have the financial special.
Right.
The Hey Peanut Sports Show. So before the break, Scott had mentioned that he wanted to talk about Kenny Pickett. I guess we're going to talk about, I don't know, 3 games in. How's he playing versus your expectations before the season? Because he was perfect in the preseason, and now 3 games in, what are you thinking, Scott?
Well, you're just cutting me right to the chase. I wanted to really talk about how bad he is, because he's horrible.
Okay.
When you look at the stats, when you look at the stats of these 3 games, he looks nervous, skittish, whatever it is. In the preseason,
calm as can be.
Right. It was almost like he was unleashed. And so I know you don't play anymore, but you used to play golf.
I haven't played since COVID. Yeah,
But
this is
you
true.
but you played avidly for a while. For a portion of your life, you played every day.
Probably 20 some years. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Okay, so I mean, I know you overcame this problem golfing, but a lot of people can't. When you get to the tee box and you've never played a course before, and you're with your buddy, whoever it is that's playing golf with you, don't go left, and don't go right. Don't go left. Don't go right, and that you.
So whatever you're saying in your head, don't go. You end up going.
So
Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
In the pregame, this is what I'm thinking. I'm hypothetically speaking of what I think's happening here. Is before the game, don't fumble the ball. Don't check everybody down. Make sure you do all these defensive things in his head instead of just go out there and win the game, man. Go have fun, play football like they probably did it preseason. And be relaxed. Let's see you the relaxed, Kenny.
He does seem to
now
have
it's
happy
real
feet.
game, Kenny, and you've got to be. And that's the way it looks to me. And I mean, I could be wrong, but that's just the difference in the player that I see. That he seems like unsure.
Are you
Should
saying
I do this? Should I not do that? Instead of where he was like, "Hey, I'm just going to go do this." And so
he's not
did
cool,
see
calm, and
him-
collective back there in the pocket? Is what you're saying? You're thinking he's thinking of all the negatives to not do
That's what's
versus just going out and playing.
correct. Like he's getting fed. You'll keep your job as long as you don't fumble. And if that's in your head when you hike the ball, then you're not thinking of doing the great things.
Well, I don't think
that
he's
you're
looking over
capable
his
of doing.
shoulder. I don't think his job's in jeopardy. I mean, he was the #1 draft pick for them.
Okay. Well, if he continues playing this way and you all of a sudden defense,
I think he
I
stinks.
don't know. I mean, we're counting on
right now.
defense. We already
I'm not
talked about
saying
it.
he's playing well.
So then why do you think he's not looking over? We're just going to stick
Because
with
Mitch
this.
Trubisky stunk last year too.
He's
Lost his
probably
job
gone.
at halftime against
They'll trade him.
whoever
This
it
is
was,
my
the Jets or
prediction. You heard
somebody.
it here first on the Hey Peanut Sports Show. Mitch Trubisky will not be here by the middle of the season. He is
I
gone.
will
There's
bet
a
you-
need
I will
for
bet you
quarterbacks.
$1 right now.
And people would love to have him compared to, if you've watched some of these backup quarterbacks play, Zach Wilson
I was just gonna
needs
say, what
to
about the
be
Jets?
gone. Mitch Trubisky is even better than him. I would take Mason Rudolph over Zach Wilson.
Wow.
I would take it. They eat that at
But
the
why would the
Did you
Steelers get
watch
rid of
the
Trubisky?
Jameson-
That doesn't make any
Jameson
sense. He's
Winston? Did you
affordable.
see him play?
Who's this? I'm sorry.
Jameson Winston.
Have I seen him play?
Did you see him play on Sunday?
I did not know.
They are desperate in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Hopefully this guy comes back.
Right, but with the concussions that Pickett had last year, you want a competent backup. You're not going. They're not going to trade him.
He's affordable, like Brian said. I think that's for
They're 100% not trading Trubisky.
if they can get anything for Rudolph, I think he could be on the block.
Right. Rudolph could be a backup somewhere.
Yeah.
Fill in a game
I
here and
guess
there.
the Jets don't have any draft picks left to offer, do they? Thank you, Aaron Rodgers. So I guess you're right. Maybe Zach Wilson is just kind of that's what they.
The
that's
boy
the best
toy.
they do. Where's Duck Rogers?
Well, they got 4 plays out of him.
Man,
4 plays out of him.
He's better than Zach Wilson.
No, he's not.
Oh my God, he saved that season.
Doc Hodges
that season
is
was
the
a
worst
wash, and all of a sudden
quarterback
they
ever to play in
sold
the
the
NFL.
seats out, and I wanted to buy one of those duck call things. just
I've never
because I
trusted a
thought
quarterback that wore number 6. Never. Bobby Brister,
Bobby
Jay
He was
Cutler.
great. He won. He won a start. As I mentioned, Duck Rogers. That's what we're talking about, right?
Hodges. Yes. Who's
I
Doc
said
Rogers?
Rodgers. I'm sorry.
That's like
I got
Aaron
crossed with
Rodgers'
Aaron
cousin.
Rodgers.
You're all right.
Sorry, that was my fault. I'm sorry, guys.
That's fine.
You
that's
knew
fine.
who I was
Yeah,
talking
right,
about.
Right.
Scott, let me tell you this. You want me to throw some more interesting statistics at you? In the last 10 games, now I'm talking about these 3 that we just played, the 3 that we played in preseason, because they are, ticket paid games. I'm going to go by the games that we played that pays, where you pay for a ticket. So these 3 games, the 3 games in preseason, and the last 4 games of last season, after they lost their last game to the Ravens, okay? We are 9-1. 9-1. Again, people are going to say you can't account preseason and things, of course, but I'm talking about the last 10 games played by the Pittsburgh Steelers, started by Kenny Pickett. This team right here is 9-1.
Wait, how does that math work? I thought,
Somehow you
Last
went,
4 games
Did
of
you
last
major
season.
in astrology to
Last
where
4
that matters over the course of a year? Because that doesn't matter.
Basically, I could go further if you want me to, and it could get even better, and you're not going to like it.
But you're also attaching Pickett to a great defense. We talked about this earlier. The defense is what's winning these games.
Defense is
It's not
fine, but
easy.
he is the quarterback. He is a starter, so I'm giving you the numbers for the games that
he
he
did
started.
have 4 comebacks last year.
did,
I mean, he has some nice series and he has some nice throws. Overall, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks
Now let
in
me
the
put
league.
it to you this way: since
Correct.
the bye, they went by.
But I see the potential. He's not hurt.
They went by the
And-
bye last year. They did real bad. They played the the bye, and then it got better. Their record after that to this point is 12-3. 12-3 since the bye last year. Think about that. 12-3.
Not bad.
That's an easy
You gotta
schedule.
like
though.
It's an easy schedule. Beat us
But
in May.
hey, you're winning the games you should win. And
Seems
getting-
like you'd have made the playoffs.
Those 3 losses, though, could you find the 3 losses were probably really bad? I'm sure they got blown out by like Buffalo,
It was
San Francisco.
the Ravens loss. It was the Bengals loss, both in the second half of the season. Remember, we played the Ravens.
Yeah.
We lost 1-1. One was the Ravens loss. One was the San Fran loss at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And the Bengals loss. So 3 playoff teams were the 3 teams that we lost to in this
Right.
12-3 run.
What do you think of the AFC North now? Are they the strong one? All because we're number 2. We must be the strongest division, which we thought we were going to be the hardest division, not because of us. We were sneaking in there, and now we're number 1 in the
think
AFC North. But
The
do you
Bengals
think,
being in last place just throws everything off. The Bengals,
Well, they won.
They
They'll get it
finally
together.
win. They was 6-6 in the fourth quarter, I think, the other night.
Didn't Joe Burrow get hurt again?
well, you're an
or,
astrologist. Does
father?
that mean they're going to repeat the same thing, and they're just going to do the same thing?
What I'm saying is those guys being in last place, those guys just getting their first win in week 3 makes this more interesting because most people had them at the top of this division. Now the Browns, they're making noise with this defense. Now the Ravens, now the Steelers. This division,
Man,
I'm
I'm
not going to
telling
say
you,
is the best. I'm going to say it's
The
the most
Steelers
interesting.
we really did get fortunate in that game against the Browns. They looked great. I don't know. I mean, Deshaun Watson, all of a sudden, I don't know. Maybe they gave him the blue pill instead of the red pill before the game because that kid was a different quarterback in the game I watched him play, and I thought they played a better team than they played as in us, as far as that's concerned.
He's never
You know
beat
what
the
I mean?
Steelers in his career. He is 0-3 against Pittsburgh. I don't know.
Hopefully we
if-
get a call from Teagan. He's supposed to call in at 5. We'll get the Cleveland. Save the Cleveland connection for that discussion
Right.
later.
But their defense, Scott, the defense in Cleveland is the 4th best start ever. They've let up about 400 and some points at this point in the season. I forget what it is, but it literally is the 4th. It's the 4th best start ever in the NFL as far as the defense and what they've given up as far as yards. I believe it is. It's the yards, 400 and some yards.
What do you think of Najee Harris?
I think that he hesitates. There's a split second that he needs to hit the hole a little bit faster. Watch Jalen Warren. Watch Najee. Jalen right to the hole, bang.
Well, and
Najee, there's a split hesitation, and it gives the defense that extra step.
I think Scott will agree with me here, but Ryan, what do you think? Is Harris just slow, or is it a hesitation?
See, y'all are totally wrong. I've flipped the script on Najee Harris. I watched the game. Did you watch the game?
Oh, this again. Do I even watch the games?
I literally stared
this
at
guy's
the wall,
hard hitting.
but-
He was Eddie George.
He puts his shoulder
was
down. And
he hits him. He hits him. And because he already knows that they don't have an offense game plan that's going to give him opportunities, he's there to give Pickett an opportunity, which means they know they're going to run it. And so he's being smash mouth, stealing the ball. And I actually enjoyed it. I think he gets the MVP ball to me with all his carries that he had.
He had a nice day.
He did have a nice day, and he was hard, and he kept the opportunities available for Pickett. He
Now, let me
did
ask
his
you
job,
this.
and he's not hurt. And I guarantee you, some of those people, I saw some of those hits. He flattened some people.
Now let me ask you this: if you
And
put
so
Jalen Warren in that
that's
spot,
what I like to see. I mean, Eddie George was a beast at Tennessee,
Yeah.
but he didn't have breakout plays. So it made me rethink about what is Najee Harris's role for the Steelers. I think this is his role, and I applaud him. I think as long as he stays healthy and he becomes a threat, eventually, as Pickett progresses and gets better, it's going to give him opportunities, and you just might start seeing 10 and 12-yard, like Eddie George. You'll get 10 and 12-yard carries. And then instead of going to the house, he's going to find somebody to hit. Take a safety out. That way my wide receiver has a chance next
Who
play.
was your MVP of last week's game, Scott?
Najee Harris.
Najee Bryan.
I don't.
Who would you give the game ball to if you were the coach?
God, how do you? I don't. I have no idea. I think nobody. I mean, T.J. Watt got what, 2 sacks?
Right.
So maybe you give it to Watt, even though I'm not his biggest fan
Right.
here. So T.J. Watt.
I go Presley Harvin. If Presley
Darn
Harvin,
it! I didn't want to say it.
with the exception. With the exception of the last second to last punt of the game, I say Presley Harvin had the. And I read this in an article.
He's hurt.
He is hurt.
He's
but
having a little hamstring.
He had his best performance at the punter position for the Steelers yet since he's been a Steeler.
That's why they drafted him.
Go back and watch those punts. They were all nice. They got the field position was great for us. We were able to win because of this. Presley Harvin gets my game ball.
Nice.
Hey, special teams sometimes wins you games.
Absolutely. And it's not always that kicker, It's not always the place
so
kicker.
I don't know. So they picked somebody up for insurance in case Harvin can't play this Sunday, I guess. And it's actually a 1:00 game. I like whenever that we play at 1.
Especially being in
a
Houston.
Sunday night game, the Monday night game. That's cool and all, but I like the 1:00 games.
So here's a name that we don't talk about much. I listen to sports talk all over the board. On the coaching level, who gets the MVP of the league this week? Or even this far in the season?
Well, just because
How do
he's
you not go Dolphins?
right, just because he's playing the game like people
No,
play
the
Madden.
Steelers, Terrell Austin. You don't even hear them talk about this guy.
Oh, okay.
He is totally under the radar. When Dick LeBeau was here, when you watched the game on TV, he was part of the showcase. You're going to face Dick LeBeau's Steelers defense, and I think
This is not the Dick LeBeau Steelers defense right
I just
now,
don't think
though.
he's getting credit right now. Whatever he's doing is winning.
Create the zone blitz, and I'm sure they're going to be talking about him.
So it's either he's doing good or Tomlin has decided just to be defensive coordinator, and that's why the offense is crappy.
Well, I say we dig into this a little bit more. We do have to go to a break, Scott. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3. You can check us out at Beaver County Radio Facebook Live, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
I do want to say real quick, Scott does want to run a. Why don't you tell him what we're going to play before we go off on break, Scott?
Oh, we weren't going to announce it, but we'll go ahead and do it. Morgan Grouper, I'm a big fan. She was call-in last week on the show. She has a new hit. Whatever gets you through it. I listen to it every day, so we're going to start leading in and out with this. I hope you guys enjoy it on your drive time. I know this is a drive time show, which we're excited to be a part of your ride home. Enjoy Morgan Grouper.
You might turn to the Bible, you might drown in a bottle, you might call your mama and cry with your best friend. You might have a come to Jesus, you might pack it all up and leave it. Whatever it takes to not break down when you want to lose it. Whatever gets you through it, you better hold on to it.
In order to call the right play, you have to be able to communicate. Dental hygiene not only affects appearance and eating habits, it can also have an impact on your ability to speak clearly. Dr. C. Timothy Lip wants you to keep your teeth in the game, and he has a playbook designed for success so that you can call the right play or even call an audible. Get suited up for a win, or at least a winning smile, by joining Dr. C. Timothy Lip's team in Beaver Falls or Robinson Township. Visit lipdentistry.com.
The local McDonald's restaurants are proud to be partners with Beaver County Radio in sponsoring Beaver County high school football games all season long. Stop in to any of the local McDonald's restaurants for everyday value items like 2 for $3 mix and match, sausage burritos, sausage McMuffin, and hash browns. Don't forget to download the app for extra special savings. Looking for a great part-time job? Text McHire.com today to apply. Good luck to all the Beaver County football teams this season from your local McDonald's restaurants. I'm loving it.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
TEK Roofing Specialists are known for quality, honesty, and efficiency. You can reach them at 412-969-1167. Whether it's a small leak or a new roof, TEK Roofing Specialists will fix the problem. Check out TEK Roofing on Facebook to see quality work they've done. TEK Roofing uses only the best products like Tamco's Titan XT Premium Shingles with a 160-mile-per-hour wind warranty. That's TEK Roofing Specialists, 412-969-1167. Insured, licensed, and certified.
Hey, Peanuts!
Welcome back to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale. I'm in the St. Barnabas studio here with co-host Scott Kincaid. Our producer Ryan is here to take your calls at 724-774-1888. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all of your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. Make sure you call him about your gutter cleaning today. All right.
Thanks, man.
Hey, you're
What a
welcome.
great lead in.
I guess.
You're getting better at the ad part. I love it. You're better than me at it. I'd try to do it.
I don't know. Maybe on Facebook Live they can comment who they like leading into the show, me or Scott better.
I don't know if that'll happen.
Oh, Frank just messaged. He said Brian.
Hey, shout out to Frank Sparks, man. Yeah, he's a big NASCAR fan. He's been pushing me to talk about NASCAR, and I have not. I know the playoffs.
I haven't watched the last couple races, so I don't really have an opinion right now.
I do, and I don't.
I was watching the one race, and Kevin Hart moved all the way up to second, and I went to the bathroom, grabbed some food, and I came back, and he was like a lap down. I'm like, what the heck did I just miss? He's my favorite racer.
Oh, nice.
When he took over for Dale Earnhardt.
Yep. I like the.
And he won in his third race.
I like Chase Elliott, but then I don't follow it enough. And Bubba Wallace. I like Bubba Wallace. I like to see integral. I mean, it's kind of the one sport where African Americans didn't just be better than us, so to speak. The NASCAR has been one of those.
Yeah,
things.
then there was like that whole new stupid issue, and who knows what the validity or unvalidity. That's just nonsense.
Yeah,
absolute nonsense.
It is, but I mean, it is what it is with NASCAR. It's a great sport. They've had their ups and downs.
The kids just look so young. The drivers look so young to me.
They were bigger. Like if you go back in time when Dale Earnhardt was in his prime, NASCAR was competing, if not bigger than the NFL.
The late '90s, early 2000s,
and I don't know what happened in marketing. Kind of like the WWF, like the WWF with Hulk Hogan was topping NFL too, and then
Monday Night Raw or whatever was getting better ratings than Monday Night Football.
It's still around. It still exists, but it does not have that same kind of hype. And so I don't know if you just kind of get burned out where NFL football is just not going to get burned out because my little kid plays Little League football, and kids all over the place are playing these things, playing football as they grow up. So it's more popular in opposed to like how many kids are going out and practice go-kart racing. How many Jeff Gordons had that privilege and then God forbid your kids are out there trying to perform WWF moves. Which, if you come to my house on a Saturday night when they have 4 or 5 friends over, they treat it like it's an arena.
Right. Jumping off the turnbuckles.
Right. Bouncing off the walls.
Well, I just looked it up, and the NASCAR here, their annual revenue is $100 million. I was actually at lunch with my brother yesterday, and we were talking about the sports and how much money they bring in. And I think the NFL was like $12 billion, okay? And Roger Goodell makes like $64 million-ish. If these numbers are wrong, it's just my bad memory. And then I want to say Major League Baseball was just under $11 billion. The NBA was around $10 billion, and hockey was, I believe, $6 billion.
Wow.
In revenue. And then like the commissioners in the other 3 sports did not make Roger Goodell money.
Right.
They're making like 12 million, 10 million, 8 million, or somewhere around there. But I was $64 million.
That's a lot of money.
It was like 63 million and change. So I was rounding up. But
most average people will be happy with $1 million. Just 1 million. That's all.
Yeah,
500,000 be fine.
You know what? And as much as I hate to admit I'm good at math, my kid asked me, "How long is it going to take? How long did it take you to make your first $1 million, Dad?" And I'm like,
working on it.
Let you know.
Oh my goodness. It might not happen. It might, but it might not. I'm a modest man, so a lot of times what I make goes away. Like if I have an extra $10 in my pocket, I'm giving that guy on a corner.
Ryan, how many gutter cleanings would Scott have to do at $150 to make that $1 million?
Well, if it carried over from last season through the preseason, I don't know. I'm sure he's doing well though.
I'm doing okay. I have a lot of kids, and then I pay my guys well. So, especially gutter cleaning season, those guys. This is Christmas bonus money. This is how I pay for the Christmas thing. They all count on it every year too. So, I don't want to be like with not family vacation, Christmas vacation. Oh, where's our bonus? I was counting on putting on whatever.
If anything, you're going to get phone calls because people are going to want to work for you
At
now.
the first year, I just gave everybody a ham.
Did you?
And I thought I was big time then.
Like he's like the mafia guy that's throwing turkeys out during Thanksgiving out of the back of a truck.
You remember Jim? I gave him a couple grand one year.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
He was with you for a while.
Yeah, I hope he's doing good. His health got ahead of him, and I made him go. We're not. I guess I can talk about it. Nobody knows what we're talking about. His name's Jim, but anyhow, if you don't know, there's a lot of Jims in Pittsburgh. Believe me.
He's one of them.
Right. I just don't want to embarrass him or anything. Anyhow, I told him he had to go get a doctor's note to work with me.
Yeah,
And
he was
the
getting up
doctor
there.
said no. I'm not giving you that note. And Jim said, well, I have to work. And Jim was a great worker. It wasn't like his spirit
He would
was
get up
bad.
on any roof. I mean, I'd be like looking from the ground like, good luck, guys.
And so the doctor said, well, you have these things wrong with you, and so you can't go get up on a roof. Something bad could happen, and you'll be unsafe. And so Jim argued, well, you got to write the letter because I won't have a job. I don't know what else to do. And the doctor said, well, I'll get you a job in the hospital. And he's been working there at Mercy ever since, and actually I think he makes a little more than me. But then if anything happened to him, he's already in the right building for the condition that he has.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It's not contagious for anybody out there. It's just got a little is it COPD and something to do with his heart. He's a little older than me. I look young, but I'm old.
Scott, you do not look young. For those of you listening on the radio, Scott needs to go to confession or something because he was just telling a big lie.
Ryan, do you know how old I am?
I would guess, if I had to guess, Scott.
Do you know, though, in advance? Did you know how old I was?
No.
Okay, so how old do you
I
think
know
am?
from conversation, I can make an educated guess.
How old do you think Brian is? Let's start with Brian.
46.
I'm 46.
No, Brian.
Brian's 46.
Yes.
Spot on.
You already know that?
I did.
Okay.
But again,
So-
I can make
So we're friends. We came up at the same time.
I could make a hypothesis, though, from information that I have extracted from you. I would guess, if I had to guess right now,
60 what, Ryan?
I would say 52 years old.
That's a pretty good guess. I'm 53.
Okay.
Yep.
I was born in 69.
Because we had a car. Yes. That's my guess. If there was money on it, I would have said 52.
Except from my hairstyle.
Oh, you always have a hat. I never see your hairstyle. You could have a mohawk under there for all I know. Do you have a mohawk?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just need a lollipop.
Yeah, no, you got the you have the Mr. Clean thing going on.
Oh no, I was thinking Kojak, but if you thinking clean
Either way.
products, I'm thinking Mafia Cop.
What's Kojak?
You never saw Kojak?
Is that like a detective something?
Telly Savalas, man.
Telly
Are
Savalas.
you kidding me?
I know.
And this is why he's 46. I don't know how these young people on the show don't know who Telly Savalas is. That's
Sorry.
crazy. That's all right.
I know who Damian Lillard is, and he's 33.
I'm pretty sure the Telly Savalas show was.
I did want to say something about Damian Lillard, by the way.
Okay, sorry.
I just didn't want to just mention his age. He got traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. So Damian Lillard
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
to the Bucks, age 33. I believe. Oh goodness,
When does that start? NBA.
Oh, it's
soon.
gotta be soon.
hockey and
I thought it was like
NBA are-
November.
You figure the NHL.
It's almost October.
Yeah. They're already 2 games into their.
That's ridiculous. Fall goes so fast because as soon as September hits, they're putting Halloween stuff out, and I'm like, you realize that that's the end of October?
They got Christmas
I've
stuff
got
at
to look
Walmart.
at this skeleton ghoul thing for 2 months, and yet Christmas only gets 3 weeks.
Everybody has that tall skeleton these days.
Are you a fan of Halloween?
I don't care for it. It's great for kids.
What's your holiday then? Because you hate
Thanksgiving's my
Christmas.
favorite holiday.
Oh, Thanksgiving.
Didn't we have this conversation a few
I
weeks
say
ago?
Well, I
we
don't
did. We
remember.
all-
I don't remember you saying that you like.
You're not under
Thanksgiving.
pressure to pick out a gift
I was
for
just
somebody.
shocked.
And there's
I
great
was
food
just shocked that
and
you
you get
didn't
to
like
see
Christmas.
family. I didn't say I didn't like it.
Oh, and the stuff.
It's just a lot of pressure for adults.
Okay. But adults are the ones that create the pressure.
Yeah.
My opinion on this is, guys, people have really jumped on Halloween. Anywhere you go, anywhere you look, oh, I love this time of year. I love Halloween. I love the pumpkin spice. I love this. It's too much. For that reason, I go the other way. If everybody is flocking toward this holiday as it being their favorite, I don't want it to be my favorite.
It changed. Elwood City, the pandemic changed. It used to be a great Halloween trick-or-treating town. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I do like trick-or-treating.
Trick-or-treating's awesome for the kids. That is fantastic.
Pandemic, they turned into make these super tubes to slide the candy because we don't want to touch or whatever. And so it just changed it. Are we close?
All right. Well, listen. Hey.
About a minute.
All right. Scott's favorite topic is the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I think we're going to dig into some Pirates when we come
I'm
back.
excited about this part of the show. I hope you guys are too. There's only 5 games left. One's tonight, 6:40. Is that right? Pre-game show comes on after hours, or is it Pat Narduzzi?
I'm not sure what's on after us.
Pat Narduzzi tonight.
And no Pirates game tonight here. Okay. Not even on the AM?
That's a good question.
12:30, by the way.
We have Pat Narduzzi, and then the
WBBP.
coach's corner is after that, so it won't be the Pirate game.
So AT&T Sportsnet, you need to check out to check out the Pirates game.
All right.
Anyway, it comes on tonight, and so 5 games left. It's exciting, and when we get back, we're going to talk some more about it.
Attention Beaver County. You are invited to attend the recovery celebration at John Antoline Park on Monaca Heights on Saturday, September 30th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for a free family-style picnic lunch provided by 1-5 Barbecue and Catering. This event is sponsored by Beaver County Drug Abuse Coalition. There will be recovery speakers, yoga, live entertainment, door prizes, and of course fun. Rejuvenate your body, mind, and soul. That's all happening Saturday, September 30th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at John Antoline Park on Monaca Heights. Join 1230 WBVP and 99.3 FM along with the New Brighton Historical Society this Saturday for a special broadcast from the annual Underground Railroad Walking Tour in New Brighton. Mike Romite will be broadcasting live from 10 a.m. till 12 noon outside the J&J Spratt Funeral Home and will conduct live interviews during Yankee Trader. Beaver County Radio's live broadcast from the Underground Railroad Walking Tour is being brought to you by Polly's Premium Leggings, Eye Care on 3rd, Fisher's New Brighton Foodland, and Beaver County Radio. 1230 WBVP and 99.3 FM.
Beaver County Radio is your source for local news in Beaver County and surrounding areas. Tune in weekdays starting at 6:30 a.m. for news reports at the top and bottom of each hour with Curtis Walsh. Eddie Crow has afternoon news at the bottom of each hour, and news correspondents Sandy Giordano and Matt Durzik have reports from local school board and municipal meetings. You can also follow Beaver County Radio on our website at beavercountyradio.com and our Facebook page for breaking news as it happens. With all that coverage, you don't need to go anywhere else but Beaver County Radio News and beavercountyradio.com.
TEK Roofing Specialists are known for quality, honesty, and efficiency. You can reach them at 412-969-1167. Whether it's a small leak or a new roof, TEK Roofing Specialists will fix the problem. Check out TEK Roofing on Facebook to see quality work they've done. TEK Roofing uses only the best products like Tamco's Titan XT Premium Shingles with a 160-mile-per-hour wind warranty. That's TEK Roofing Specialists, 412-969-1167. Insured, licensed, and certified.
Hey, Peanuts! Hey, welcome back to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale in the St. Barnabas Studios here with co-host Scott Kincaid. Our producer Ryan is here to take your calls at 724-774-1888. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. Make sure you give him a call about cleaning those gutters, $150 for almost every home. And I guess if you're a multi-millionaire, he's still going to do it for $150, right?
That's correct.
All right.
I like that. That's
Honest work.
honest work.
You know how hard it is just to get a customer. I'd almost, I'm willing, because roofing needs maintenance every year. You're going to end eventually, no roof lasts forever. I know when you look at the package, it says lifetime. That's not your lifetime. It's the lifetime of the shingle.
What's that, about 13 years?
Depends on where you're at. They base that stuff off of the most ideal environment.
Which Western PA is not.
That's correct. And then it's just based off of that. And that's how they want to make those numbers look big. So you buy the product. And then hopefully in 10 to 15 years, the same homeowner doesn't own the house. And then the warranty doesn't transfer. Where the Tamco
What about
products,
Tamco? Yeah, it transfers, right?
It totally
Heck,
transfers
I even knew
the
that.
warranty. Right. And that's a great thing about them. That's one of the things that got me on board with Tamco was they had the best warranty and the best policies and the best product on the market. With this Titan XT, it's great. Put on a roof this week, put on a rubber roof and 2 Titan XT roofs this week. Customers were super thrilled. The job went really great. I'm getting more jobs off referrals than I am off this radio show. But the original,
that's the way it works. You do a great job, they refer you.
The original job was off the radio show, and that's turned into 5 or 6, and
Right.
and that's just how it works. So please call in 412-969-1167. I will make time for new customers. I will reschedule everyone else. Having you as a customer of mine is the most important priority of being in business. I think we have 3,000 now. That's pretty good, huh, Brian? I know I bragged about 2,000 a couple of years ago with you, and now I think we have 3,000 in our Rolodex. Which,
Oh my goodness,
for you
that's hard to keep
youngins,
track.
Rolodex is your contact directory in your phone, but back then it was a Rolodex, this little contraption that had all the little papers, and you rolled it around. Did you have one of those in college?
No,
Never had a Rolodex?
no. I've seen them in movies. You know, obviously I know what it is. I just never had
All
one
the
myself.
really old movies.
Right.
I had one, so I had one when I was young, just because I thought it was cool, and I would put little stuff in there. It made nothing. Baseball cards, just dumb stuff.
You seen them in offices, things like this when we were growing up.
My uncle was he was an insurance guy, and I got one of these devices. when I
Insurance.
was
That's one of the
little.
words that you say that it's just always reminds me
July.
that you're from Tennessee. I did see a Tennessee license plate the other day, and I thought of you. Yeah, when you say July and insurance,
Yeah, I don't even know I have an accent. You know what's funny too? I've been up here long enough, and I go down south. And
They probably think
and
you have an
they
accent.
Go, what the hell's a yinzer? Sorry, Brian. Sorry,
No,
Ryan.
you're good. And from what I understand, a lot of people and I mentioned this before in the show, a lot of people just don't eat pierogies. Down
The one guy said, "Hey, Yin's over there," and he's like, "Oh, I listen to Snoop Dogg too." You manizzle? Brian can't even
I don't know. I
talk.
thought we were going to talk Pirates, and we're talking Snoop Dogg. I guess. Hey, this show goes any which and every direction. I guess.
That's all right. The Peanut Show.
Yeah. So
Did we talk last week about the radio? The very first Pirates, or not the very first, the very first broadcast of a baseball game in history.
Was it the Pirates?
Did we talk about it last week?
no, we did
No,
not, because
but-
I have no idea what you're talking about. So we definitely didn't talk about it.
All right, so I'll just read it. I found it.
It's very odd that I seen this somewhere recently, but it's funny that you're going to talk
The
about
first baseball game ever broadcast on radio was a Pittsburgh Pirates versus Philadelphia Phillies game on August 5th, 1921. The game was broadcast by KDKA of Pittsburgh, and the Pirates defeated the Phillies 8-5. And the broadcast, it was broadcast by the staff announcer Harold Arlen, which I don't know that.
Do you know where the
Interesting.
game was at? Was it in Pittsburgh or Philadelphia? Or don't we know? Because we are in Philadelphia right now against those Phillies.
I would say, well, because it was written, and this is the way you're supposed to do it in sports journalism, Brian. The second team is the home team, so it says
or the one on the bottom.
broadcast on radio was a Pittsburgh Pirates versus Philadelphia.
So we're thinking maybe
Phillies.
that
So
Philly. We'll have to
was
look it
in
up
Philly.
to confirm that, but probably Philly then. Yeah.
Right. But that's interesting to me. I meant to bring that up last week. Where are we at? We're talking about today's Pirates, though.
The 73 and 84
But
Pirates.
I thought it was interesting because we were in the first game ever.
Yes.
We were in the first World Series
That's
ever.
right. Yes.
And we were on the first radio broadcast ever.
Yes.
And I always thought, like in my mind growing up, that Cincinnati Reds were the Central because they were the Central of baseball
Right.
because they have the first game of the year and it's the Great American Park, and baseball was somehow created in Cincinnati, Ohio, which now I've learned more and more that no, that's not the case. And more I'm learning that my beloved Pirates were the center.
A rich history of the Pirates. I mean, you know,
It's
people who are
incredible.
20 years old don't understand what the history
Right.
of this franchise really is. It's a great history.
Well, that's
Right. So anyhow, we talked last week about the Pirates, and you said I don't see it in a million years. we were so close to a million years, weren't we? And then all of a sudden, just a couple of losses in a row. So they're really doing great. I think if you take away a losing streak in the middle of the season, we're in the playoffs, and nobody really wants to face this team, even though they're mixing it up and throwing it around. The Pirates are fighters right now. I don't count them out. They just won a game since our last show, down 9-0.
Oh, that was awesome.
Wow, yes.
And came back to win. They were up 13-9 and almost lost it, but still won 13-12. Before that, what do you think their record was in the history of the league, of them being in baseball? What was their record after being down 9?
0 and something.
0.0.
Yeah,
They
nobody's
are now 1-819 is their record from being 9 down.
Also,
That's a sign of good things to come. That means there's some spirit there. They're fighting. They're winning the game, and I'm really liking the baseball I watch. It's getting better. Still don't like the coaching. A couple of those games we didn't need to lose.
if they would have won 2 to 3 more games each month, they'd be in good shape. You think 6 months of baseball, 18 game. You know, if you win 3 games extra a month, that's 18 games. They'd be in great shape.
Yeah, the Cubs are 82 and 75, and they're right now they're in the playoff hunt. So
right. So I'm
say win 2 more games a month. That's 12 more wins. We're sitting right where Brian's talking about the Cubbies.
Right. And I do want to take this chance. Next Wednesday's show, we are really going to dive into the Pirates season because the season will be over on Sunday, and we will actually be talking about what we see in the future for next year. So definitely tune in next Wednesday. We're going to do a lot of Pirates recap
Season
and predictions.
I'm going to the game.
We're going to have 4 guests on, so make sure you tune in next Wednesday. You said you're going to the game, what, Sunday?
Yeah, I'm going to the last game.
Scott's taking his kids.
Are you going to run the bases, Scott?
I'm going to let my kids run the bases.
Okay.
There you go.
And Brian, I'm gonna tell my little girl, she's 7. I imagine I can't get in trouble for this, even if I say it on the radio. I'm gonna tell her, "Hey, grab third base on the way
I told
out.
him to have one of his kids
Take it
steal
to the
third
car."
base.
Right?
Yeah.
Just steal it.
They didn't throw Lloyd. They didn't throw Lloyd McClendon in jail, and he did it.
And Mike Ankus is going to be there, and he's going to call in. He's the gentleman that was on the show. Oh gosh,
Yeah, great
About a
baseball
month or-
knowledge.
A month or 2 ago, he's the Day of the Dead movie producer. He was really a great student. I'm looking forward to the game. Just hanging out with him for the whole game is going to be fun. He's a riot. He's a race car driver, movie
How
producer,
often do you think your
bar
kids are
owner,
gonna
all this stuff.
want something to
he's done
eat,
all
though?
kinds of stuff.
Like how many times? Like every other inning, are they going to be asking for cotton candy and a hot dog and a pretzel and nachos and?
Right. I already know Monday morning. My stomach don't feel good. I don't want to go to
Your
school.
wallet's empty. Their stomachs hurt.
People are going to have to be getting their gutters cleaned on Monday so you can make all that money back.
Well, they actually it's not too bad for the kids. It's worse for the beer drinker.
Oh yeah.
It totally is worse for the beer drinker. If you buy the food, of course, it's a little overpriced, but you get quality there. It's not like you're getting a cheesy product. You're paying $12 for a burger, but you're full after that burger. And my kids,
And you know that going in. You don't go to a Pirate game thinking that you're not going to spend money. You know you're going to buy expensive hamburgers. You're going to buy, everything that you're going to pay is costly. And, if you know that going in, it's fine.
it should be it's the experience. There's supposed to be great weather.
Right.
This is like we were talking about the weather today. It's supposed to warm up next week, get back up into the 80s. Which means, and I think Sunday night supposed to be, or Sunday afternoon should be like absolutely gorgeous. It's a great way to end the season, and look forward to next season. I hope they win. It's against the Marlins, so who have
we
a
could
chance.
be spoilers for the Marlins. They're biting for that last playoff spot with the Cubs and the Reds and the Marlins. Right, they're all right around the same.
Who's your MVP right now for the Pirates as far as the last 3 weeks, Ryan?
My answer is going to be Mitch Keller, only because he reached he just broke the record for strikeouts. Nobody in Pirates history that's a right-hander has thrown more strikeouts in a season. So I mean, you're asking me the 3 weeks he accomplished the record itself in that period of time. So I'm going to go with him. Of course, he didn't throw all 200 and whatever plus strikeouts in that period of time.
In the last 3 weeks, he hasn't been that great. He's been up and down. But he was great last night up until he lost the game.
Yeah, didn't he have like a no-hitter going through the fifth?
I even texted him. I was like, hey, he's checking a no-hitter. And then as soon as I turned it back on the game, it was like home run. And I'm like, I guess I jinxed it.
Yeah.
I jinxed it.
Yeah, my buddy, he's a Phillies fan. He was saying the same thing. He's like, when he says we, he meant the Phillies. He's like, we are getting no hit.
Right.
If he didn't just get that record, I would have picked somebody else. But just because I'm taking Mitch Keller.
All right.
Palacios is my guy. Who's your guy for the last 3 weeks, for the last month? Or are you just all football and the Pirates are just like, look at the stats? Are you watching? Palacios is on fire.
Yeah, but Brian Hayes has just been playing well. Since I said get rid of him, he's been our best player.
And then, I guess we're going to have a whole show to talk about that next week. But I really want to go through every player that is on the roster this year we would consider a starter, which is kind of hard to do. But I'd like to put a starting lineup at the end of the year, who we think was the starter for this position all year, or who's going to be who you think would be the starter next year in that position, and see what we think about him. They had Connor Joe as designated hitter this evening, and that was not your designated hitter at all year. He's a utility player, and he had a great bat at times, and he seemed consistent. We liked him. Joe Dirt.
He's a good pirate.
Designated hitter?
He's a good pirate.
I just don't know. I thought he would. Henry Davis is in left field. Are we out of time again? Here
yes,
we go.
Scott.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. After the break, we're going to probably switch back to some NFL, maybe some Browns talk, some Steelers talk. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3. You can check us out at Beaver County Radio Facebook Live, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The best of Beaver County is easy to discover. It's right here on your radio. Tune in Beaver County Radio or watch the best of Beaver County live on Facebook or YouTube video this and every Thursday from 11 to 11:30. The program is made possible by St. Barnabas. For over 3 years now, the show has been dedicated to shining light on the great things going on right here in your neighborhood and the people that are making it happen. This Thursday, enjoy conversation and insight from an intriguing lineup of guests who are creating excitement and having an impact right here in Beaver County. Your friends and neighbors at St. Barnabas are pleased to support the best of Beaver County. The radio broadcast will also be replayed each week from 11:30 to noon on Sundays on Beaver County Radio. Archived Best of Beaver County videos can be viewed on the WBVP WMBA Facebook page. It's your chance to encounter the best of Beaver County with host Mike Romai this Thursday starting at 11. For more information, visit beavercountyradio.com.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
It started with a road trip into the American Midwest. Huntington bankers with one mission, to understand how people made sense of money. And that's how we met Jason.
How do I save money? Jars. Whatever loose cash I have at the end of the day goes into the concert tickets jar, the vacation jar, you get it.
And that's how we came up with personalized goals for your savings accounts. Our customers give us the best ideas. Huntington, welcome. Member FDIC. Learn more at huntington.com.
Thanks for tuning in to Beaver County Radio, created by local people in the St. Barnabas studio. 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls and 1460 WMBA Ambridge. Hey, Peanuts!
Welcome back to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale. I'm in the St. Barnabas studio here with, Scott wasn't here, but he's not in here right now. I'm sure we'll be back here in just a minute. We also are here with our producer, Ryan. He's here to take your calls at 724-774-1888. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all of your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. Also, I'd like to mention to get down to Just One More Sports Bar in downtown Beaver Falls. And, we do have Tegan on the phone. Tegan, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. How's everybody doing?
Well, we're doing well. It sounds like the Cleveland Browns played a little bit better this past week.
Oh, yeah. Had a little bit of a diverse of a game. Deshaun played great. Had some interesting teammates run the ball. But, no, it was a good, solid win. I would have liked to have put 30 on the board, but that's just me.
Yeah, what's the running back situation up there with Chubb out now?
It was a dose of we had Paul Strong Jr., a recent trade that we got from New England Patriots. We had Kareem Hunt back in the building, which it's fantastic. He's definitely looked a little slow, but we'll give him time. He wasn't in training camp, didn't have any sort of preseason activity. And then Jerome Ford. He can kind of do a little bit of everything. Yards as far as stats wasn't the best, but it was kind of a three-headed monster. And then we also had Elijah Moore, our slot receiver from the Jets. He came in, he ran the balls, more of kind of like a toss sweep type deal, maybe some counters, but overall, it was.
Was it like watching a preseason game? Was it really like watching a preseason game because the Titans are that bad? I mean, did you watch the game? I mean, you had to watch the game. Ryan Tannehill does not belong on the field. I don't know what they're thinking. He was great at the moment. I think that was his last chance when he was great there, coming from the Dolphins, because he had a long career at the Dolphins before he came to the Titans. But he looked horrible. They got two quarterbacks. They didn't bring him in. They just look horrible. They don't know what's going on. I think Vrabel is on the hot seat. So, I mean, that being said, are you excited about their win? Or are you like the Steelers here and happy that you didn't play anybody this last week?
Well, that was a win that we needed in typical Browns fashion of doing Browns things. That would have been a game.
The typical Browns fashion things coming next week against the Ravens. What do you think your chances are against them?
You have them at home, right?
We're going to destroy Lamar. I mean, we'll
destroy.
Keep him under 100 yards.
You heard that first here, guys.
They're going to destroy Lamar. All right.
Another
hey, we'll be happy with that here.
Multi-million-dollar quarterback is going down this weekend in Cleveland.
I think every Steelers fan just got excited.
I think they did too. I got excited. I don't like the guy. I thought he was like overpaid. When I was like, I didn't think he would even get a contract. That's why they didn't even sign him. And then all of a sudden, he's the highest paid. And then he got beat by someone else. He's not the highest paid now. It's
always the newest contract. Always the highest.
Or Herbert or whatever in San Diego. He's the highest paid, as far as I know. I mean, I'm no agent, but I think that's the last I read.
It's Watson versus Jackson. I mean, both those guys are very well paid.
I did like what I saw about Deshaun Watson. It seemed like he played a better game than he did against the Steelers because he knew going in Nick Chubb was going to be hurt. Like he knew he didn't have him at the beginning of the game is what I'm trying to say, and he was able to manage the game. He already was prepared for this is what I got to do, and I really need to use my legs. And I saw the footwork that I remembered him having in the Texans. I saw life there, and his performance doesn't make me a fan of him, but just the same. I think I would look hopeful, but then it also kind of looked like a preseason game because you're playing the Titans. So I guess we're going to find out against the Ravens.
It's a division game, so it's going to be competitive.
Do you ever get up there and go see the game? Do you have a game you start going on the calendar, I got to go see them beat these people?
Yeah, I normally try to go to one of the primetime games. That's normally kind of my big thing to do.
Which one is it this year?
Well,
don't you play the Steelers on the Thursday night?
The second one is, I believe, yes.
Okay, yeah.
And that would be at home. That would be the primest game you probably have. And it looks like you guys are probably both going to be looking at the same kind of week schedule, same as everybody in the North. It's kind of looking at a week schedule the way it's designed, except for playing each other. So I imagine when that
San
game,
Fran.
And well, you have these sprinkled games in, but just the same, I think it's going to be very competitive down the stretch, and I imagine that's going to be a really big time game about who's going to go where in the North.
The Browns get San Fran after the Ravens. That's two tough games, but you have them both at home.
Yes, and the Ravens are due a loss. I mean, not the Ravens. The 49ers are due a loss. I don't see them as the perfect team, unlike the 72 Dolphins and the 2023 Dolphins. I can see them being the perfect team too. And we haven't even talked about the Dolphins yet, but what an amazing performance that was by them. He had more yards. Tua had more yards in one game than Pickett had all year. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I think alert. Brady and Manning's records are on alert right now. They might get broke this year by 1-2.
And they scored more points in that game than the Steelers scored all year. Steelers scored 55 points, I do believe, and Miami scored 70 in this one game.
So would you rather have Mike Tomlin or Mike?
But then look who they were playing.
Right.
And this is like my point. Look who the Cleveland was playing. Look who the Steelers were playing. And so it's interesting in the NFL because it's unlike baseball where you have all these games. Then in football, every game matters, and everybody's little situation is different and changes each week. And it's just a wonderful thing to watch. It's almost like March Madness drawn out. You know, instead of having all these games in a quick amount of time like you do in March Madness, each game's so important like it is in March Madness, just like it is in the NFL is my point. And each game's important. And these two games that you guys have won and the two games the Steelers have won have definitely going to play a part in the end result. They always do. And you can always look back and say, just like you look at the Pirates, you can look back at them and say, just didn't have that one losing streak. If you could have just won.
It was a 3-month losing streak.
Well, whatever. You just didn't have. You're only 7 games out of a playoff spot. 7 games.
It's
there was only 5 games left.
It's truly fascinating.
But you're only 7 games out of a playoff spot, and then you look back on it and you go, and when you look back on the broadcast and you go, oh my God, why didn't we talk more about this loss? Because it's a long season, it's the middle of the season, and so well, you win some, you lose some. But then there were some games in the middle of the season that were like, this is what matters, and that's what matters here. You guys, the Cleveland won against the Titans. It was a necessary win. You totally could have lost that game, even though the Titans suck. They are a professional football team.
The Cowboys lost
to Arizona.
Josh Dobbs, there he goes. First win as a quarterback.
Look what Josh Dobbs gets as his reward. He gets to play San Francisco this week.
This is my dream team right now, too, because I've been a Josh Dobbs fan since before he even came to Pittsburgh. I was a big fan of him at Tennessee, and I always followed his career. He's a rocket scientist. He did a great job last year with the Titans with his one performance. He didn't win. I think he got robbed by the officials, and I think he won that game. But just the same, I'm a big Dobbs fan. Is that okay? Can I be a Cardinals fan?
Absolutely.
Ryan? Just because I like one player. If he gets hurt, then screw the Cardinals again.
I always liked Larry Fitzgerald.
Arizona is Pittsburgh friendly.
Liked the Cardinals. I never liked them.
Arizona is historically Pittsburgh friendly. A lot of people go there to retire from the area. So yes, I think that Arizona's a safe team to like.
Do you remember the Will Ferrell movie with the basketball, Tropic Thunder, or whatever? No, not Tropic Thunder. What was that? What was that movie with the basketball?
Tropic Thunder was like
that's not that movie. I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
But they were the tropics, weren't they?
Yes.
They were the tropics in
Flint, Michigan tropics.
Right. So I'm that old. The Cardinals were in St. Louis, and they were that team in the NFL when I was growing up. There was just no good players. Ozzie Smith, I think, was their big player.
Wasn't he the St. Louis Cardinals shortstop?
But he was also, there was an Ozzie Smith football player, wasn't there?
That's pretty.
All right, I'm going to look it up. I have to look that one up. Anyhow, thinking we got to talk about this weather change. Football season's coming up, and we've got to do something about our gutters. And so I'm trying to promote TEK Roofing Specialists here to get your gutters clean. And I don't think people understand. I want to hear from them to hear from the pro. If you don't get your gutters clean, they get backed up. What does that do to your roof? And then we'll go into, if you do need a new roof, what kind of roof you get. But let's try to do preventive medicine. You're the knowledgeable guy. How important is it?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, that's where you have a lot of issues that can totally destroy the deck, a lot of damming, a lot of ice formation, a lot of moisture, a lot of water expanding and contracting, and that's what you don't want.
Correct. So let's just say you forgot to call or neglected to call TEK Roofing at 412-969-1167 to get your gutters cleaned, and you do need a new roof. What kind of roof do you want to have put on?
Oh, Tamco Titan XT, where innovation meets extreme technology.
Nice. And where can I reach them? If I want to learn more about it, where do I go?
Tamco.com/Titan XT, or they can call TEK.
412-969-1167. Thank you so much. This is our Cleveland Connection, Thegan Robbins.
Well, good luck against the Ravens this upcoming Sunday.
And hopefully I get to hear from you again next week, buddy.
I really look forward to that Ravens-Browns game. I mean, only not because it's just division. That's going to be a good game. These two teams are going to match up well, and I do look forward to watching
I hope you destroy Lamar Jackson.
Thanks again, Tegan.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
All right, you guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3, or you can check us out at Beaver County Radio Facebook Live. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
In order to call the right play, you have to be able to communicate. Dental hygiene not only affects appearance and eating habits, it can also have an impact on your ability to speak clearly. Dr. C. Timothy Lip wants you to keep your teeth in the game, and he has a playbook designed for success so that you can call the right play or even call an audible. Get suited up for a win, or at least a winning smile, by joining Dr. C. Timothy Lip's team in Beaver Falls or Robinson Township. Visit lipdentistry.com.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
The local McDonald's restaurants are proud to be partners with Beaver County Radio in sponsoring Beaver County high school football games all season long. Stop in to any of the local McDonald's restaurants for everyday value items like 2 for $3 mix and match, sausage burritos, sausage McMuffin, and hash browns. Don't forget to download the app for extra special savings. Looking for a great part-time job? Text McHire.com today to apply. Good luck to all the Beaver County football teams this season from your local McDonald's restaurants. I'm loving it.
At Geneva College, your academic experience will prepare you with exceptional expertise in your chosen field. But what you'll learn is so much more than just that. Integrating faith and learning, you'll grow to see God's purpose and calling in your life's work. You'll be challenged to imagine how the world around you could be different and what your part might be in making that difference. You were made to live courageously. Visit geneva.edu today.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
Hey, Peanuts! Welcome to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show, a Wednesday night show that features the sports opinions of the fans sitting up in peanut heaven. This show airs Wednesday nights here on Beaver County Radio, and it is brought to you by TK Roofing Specialist in Elwood City. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. Now, let's introduce your host for the show, Scott Kincaid and Brian Pasquale.
All right, that was Matt leading us in there. That was great. I
saw him leave
I got
today.
to see Matt today, so if you're out there listening, Matt, how's it going? But we are here at the Hey Peanut Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale. I'm at the St. Barnabas studio with co-host Scott Kincaid. Our producer Ryan is here to take your calls at 724-774-1888. We'd also like to thank our sponsors, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. I'd also like to say to get down to the Just One More Sports Bar. Scott's hungry, and he wants to go eat one of their grilled cheese and bacon sandwiches, don't you, Scott?
Supreme grilled cheese and bacon.
What is tonight? Tonight is the
Antipasta Pittsburgh style.
with the fries.
Fries and stuff on top, but I suggest going tomorrow and getting the wings, 42 different flavors. I like everything on the menu. I don't think I'm going to get the grilled cheese tonight. I think
You got to try everything eventually.
Yeah, I'm going to keep going and trying different stuff. The calzone is really good. As winter comes on, they change their menu a little bit. You can go to Just One More Sports Bar on Facebook. They have a page there, and it keeps you up to date with their live entertainment and what's going on. Morgan Gruber has been known to show up on their marquee. Anyhow, we're going to go into the historical part of the show. I like to talk about this once a show.
Is this disc golf?
No, it's not.
Oh,
disc golf.
stay tuned. He's not talking about disc golf, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I mean, and with the talk of Shohei Ohtani, he kind of relived me when I was younger.
It's so unfortunate he got hurt.
Babe Ruth was the greatest to me. And then Reggie Jackson was the greatest, but I didn't know enough about sports to know any better.
Didn't he try to kill the queen?
Reggie Jackson was not the greatest, but he just was at that during that time. And I mean, no disrespect to Reggie Jackson. I think he was a great player. If you've seen the movie, you probably have a different opinion.
The Naked Gun?
No. The movie about the
with
Yankees.
OJ and
the movie about the Yankees that portrayed Reggie Jackson. Anyhow, it opened up a new thing of research, and I started to learn more about Babe Ruth. You listen to the show. I talk about Babe Ruth. Is
this in the book you're reading?
This was a flyer that was actually in the book I checked out of the LMC library. So I'll ask you a question, Ryan and Brian. When we all know that he was a great pitcher,
John Goodman,
and a great hitter, but when you think of Babe Ruth, what is the predominant impression that you get from him as a baseball player? Was he a hitter or was he a pitcher?
He was a hitter, absolutely a hitter. And as a matter of fact, if you would compare to nowadays, I think that people would most people would say they remember him as a hitter. They knew he was a pitcher, but he had 714 home runs for his career, and until Hank Aaron came along and broke that record, he was the best hitter ever, according to a lot of people, just because of the amount of home runs. I think of him personally as a guy who did a lot, but it makes me wonder. That makes my mind go and think that what would Babe Ruth be in this era? Because, the athletes were not as athletic back then. The pitchers weren't as strong back then. You didn't have all the modern technology and things that these guys use to get to the level that they are on. So I often wonder. I wonder to myself.
I think I disagree with you on all those points.
I often wonder to myself, what would he be if he played more modern?
I think baseball was harder sport to play back then because it wasn't regulated. It was harder to do. Pitchers were probably had an advantage in opposed to today's baseball, where the modern technology allows the hitter to train, and they have technology now to train hitters to hit better, where back in the days you either hit the ball or you can't. There really was no high technology for that. But I'm going to argue with you. Yeah. Let's just take Babe Ruth's hitting career out of the picture.
Okay.
Just imagine he never swung the bat. Babe Ruth began his major league career as a pitcher as the Boston Red Sox, although he was remembered more. I'm reading this off the flyer.
Yeah, you're
for
good.
you audience out there. Although he was remembered more for his prowess as a slugger, Babe was one of the best pitchers in the history of the game, and this part's going to blow your mind. He pitched all 14 innings of Game 2 of the 1916 World Series, giving up only 6 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, and 3 bases on balls. His ERA for the game was an astounding 0.64. The Babe statistics for the season were also impressive. He led the AL in shutouts, 9, fewest hits per game, 6, and an ERA of 1.75. He held his opponents to a .201 batting average, also a league record, and his career .304 batting average as a pitcher was a harbinger of his future as the Sultan of SWAT. And so I have another one for you. I'm just going to keep going with this so we can get through this part. Found this on the internet.
What is the Sultan of SWAT?
That was his nickname.
The king of swing. The Sultan of SWAT.
Okay.
The Big Bam was his big nickname. He was the Big Bam. He was Bam before there was Cleaner. Before there was OxyClean, there was Babe Ruth. They keep stealing his stuff. They stole his name on a candy bar. We already talked about that on another show. That's not Babe Ruth, the candy bar. That's some kid. So it's a made-up thing for a rich candy company.
And this is not a question. This is a question because I don't know. Who were the other hitters that were great hitters in his era? Who would have been facing Babe Ruth as a hitter while Babe was a pitcher? I'm just not real familiar with putting the eras together.
All the greats.
All the greats were on the Yankees. I mean, it wasn't like if he was on the Yankees, who was he pitching against?
He was on the Reds though, or the Red Sox at that point.
Well, don't mess up this.
Okay. I'm sorry.
We're ruining it.
You know
Ryan.
what? Next
we're
week,
ruining Scott's spotlight.
Next week, I'm going to get a list of all the people he struck out.
Okay.
Awesome.
Right, fair enough.
We're going to be talking baseball next Wednesday's show. We're going to be wrapping up the Pirates, and we'll be talking a lot of baseball. So be sure to tune into that next Wednesday.
Online with what you're asking me, though,
Yes.
because was there a big difference between 1916 and 1978? Was the level of baseball?
I would say yes.
Big difference.
Big difference.
Okay, well, Ruth's pitching mark of 9 shutouts in 1916, the most for an American League lefty, would last longer than his single season and career home run records.
I think people did.
And it was not until 1978 that the record was equaled by Ron Guidry. So it took till 1978 before somebody could break that record. That's a lot of time for that. That's kind of disproves your theory of, it was just because back in that time there was.
I just don't think people were as athletic back then. People are more athletic now because of the evolution of the game.
What would you describe Babe Ruth as?
A big guy who smokes
No,
cigars.
give us stats. No,
hold on. I'm giving you how I would describe Babe Ruth. I describe him as a big guy who drinks beer and smokes cigars, and that does not stand up.
How tall was he?
I would imagine. I don't know. I'd say 5'10".
He was 6'2".
Okay.
How much do you think he weighed?
300 pounds.
215.
300.
He looks like 300.
If you're 6'2" and 215 pounds, you can play cornerback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's how athletic you got to be. If you can hit home runs like he did, and you're 6'2",
you're not.
And you weigh,
Wait,
he had
did he
this
just say the Babe
reputation.
could play defensive back for the Steelers?
I mean, if you're looking at these stats of height and weight and physicality of a human being, and he's also doing the most, which has been arguably the greatest thing you can do in any sports is hit a home run, and he held the record, and you're going to tell me he wasn't as athletic?
Yes, and I'm going to tell you why. You're not.
I just think you're crazy now.
Well, you're not listening to what I'm saying. You're saying that
have you watched young kids clean their room?
Athleticism.
They're not getting more athletic. They're getting lazier.
Athleticism hasn't evolved in 100 years, is what you're saying.
I'm just saying that's how great he was. Like we just underestimate how great of an athlete and what the things he accomplished is just underestimated.
I'm not disputing that at all. I think that he has amazing records and they should be recognized as everyone.
You just argued it. You just said that they weren't as athletic.
I'm saying the players back then. I mean, he's playing Nathaniel Smith from the 1915 St. Louis. Nowadays these guys get paid.
You make it sound like anybody could show up in 1922 and play for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Just come down with your bat. We need somebody in left field.
When you got paid $7 a game.
Well, $7 was your rent and your gas bill for 2 months.
Exactly. Everything evolves. Everything evolves. If money does, why doesn't athleticism? That's my point.
Babe Ruth was rich for his era, even though you can look at those numbers. He was rich. Right. I mean, do you think Terry Bradshaw, he didn't get paid crap, right? But during the 70s, he was one of the highest paid athletes.
I wouldn't put Terry Bradshaw against the DBs in the league now.
Football, he was one of the highest paid players in the NFL.
I wouldn't put Terry Bradshaw against the DBs nowadays because the league has evolved. The guys are faster, they're smarter, they're it's evolved.
Oh my God!
You think Terry Bradshaw?
Get off the bandwagon! I'm kicking him off the bandwagon. He's defacing Terry Bradshaw as we speak.
You know, Terry Bradshaw has thrown just about as many interceptions as he did touchdowns, and you're saying that he could be successful in today's NFL?
I think Terry Bradshaw is the greatest quarterback that ever put on the Steelers uniform.
Well,
he won you 4 Super Bowls. Get Smoking Jim on the phone right now and put Ryan in his place. You listening to us, Ralph? I hope you are, because I don't know what's going on. How do you let this guy produce your
statistically,
show?
Big Ben is way better than Terry Bradshaw was. If you start comparing defenses, other things like this, you could then talk about Super Bowls. But statistic-wise, performance-wise, Ben was way better than Terry Bradshaw. He's one of the top 5 to 10 best quarterbacks ever. I'm talking about Big Ben. Again, Terry Bradshaw has about as many interceptions as he did touchdowns.
Well, again, now we're talking about different quarterback game plans.
I don't disagree. I love Terry Bradshaw. He's one of my favorites all the time. But I don't think that he would be great in today's NFL. These guys are so fast that they're so It changes. It evolves.
But I mean, in the same aspects, if you are Terry Bradshaw, the young Terry Bradshaw today would adapt and be great like today.
You'd like to think so, but
absolutely, football skill is football skill. Having that instinct and the nature, and that's what Kenny Pickett, we hope, can get. That's what he's missing.
I'm so sorry, Brian.
Brian wants to go into something. We're going to talk about Steelers still, right?
No, we're going to go to a break here in a minute. But Babe Ruth, and we're all of a sudden talking about Kenny Pickett. But I did want to say, when you guys said the the King of Swing, that was one of the nicknames. If I read this to you, who is this? The Count of Monte Fisco, the Dancing Destroyer, the King of Sting, the Master of Disaster, the one and only, the Prince of Punch, the Thane of Pain. Who would I be talking about?
Barry Bonds.
No, Apollo Creed.
Oh.
When you were talking about all of his
Barry
nicknames,
Bonds. When you say Count of Monte Frisco, I was like, oh, it has to
I
be
was in
Barry
the right
Bonds.
sport.
That's where I got it.
Yeah,
You
I was
got
totally
me.
thinking Apollo Creed. All right, well, listen, we're going to do
Let's
some
stay on let's just say on non-fictional characters.
Well,
for
listen,
now.
we're going to come back here in a couple minutes. We're going to talk. We're going to make our picks for this upcoming
I'm excited.
NFL season.
I don't think I'm doing well, but I'm
Or
trying.
week.
I'm trying. We'll get right back to you on that. Do you like the matchup this way? Before we go into the picks, do you like the matchup?
We're not
this
going
week?
into the picks. We're going into a break, Scott, and then we're going to do the picks.
All right, when we get back.
So Scott's
I
going to
thought
let me.
we were at the break, and then we were just talking.
Oh, no. That's why I'm doing this. All right, you guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3. You can check us out at
Navigating
Beaver County Radio, Facebook
healthcare
Live.
can be overwhelming. Heritage Valley is changing that perspective. Our medical neighborhoods provide the personal care you need right where you live and work. Access specialty physicians, lab and diagnostic imaging, rehab, and more in the heart of your community. With 7 convenient locations, we have a medical neighborhood in yours. Heritage Valley, uniquely connected for life.
Beaver County High School football has always been known as the best high school football around. And again this year, everybody around the world will get to see and hear the action on Beaver County Radio. This Friday night, Aliquippa looks to remain undefeated as they take on Ambridge in Parkway Conference action. Coverage on Beaver County Radio begins with pregame at 6:30 and kickoff is set for 7. Friday night's game can be seen live on our Facebook page at WBVP-WMBA, along with our YouTube page at BCR Radio, and online at beavercountyradio.com, along with your radio dial. High school football on Beaver County Radio this season is being brought to you in part by Keystone Wellness Program, Patriot Home Care, the Grand Valley Inn, A.K. Nahas Furniture Gallery, the Community College of Beaver County, the Beaver County Career and Technology Center, Drug Free Aliquippa, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, and Moon Township Ford, among others. So tune in every Friday night right here on Beaver County Radio.
The warm weather is back, and that can only mean one thing. Pirates baseball for a 75th season on Beaver County Radio. Tune in and listen to the Pirates Radio Network broadcast team as they take you through every pitch, hit, and out of the 2023 baseball season. Make sure you set your radio dial to WBVP WMBA 99.3 FM or 95.7 FM for all the action. Pirates baseball is being presented locally by the St. Barnabas Health System, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, Keystone Wellness Program, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Dr. C. Timothy Lip, and Beaver County Radio, 95.7 and 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP and 1460 WMBA.
Hey, Peanuts! Welcome back to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale. I'm in the St. Barnabas studio here with co-host Scott Kincaid. Our producer Ryan is here to take your calls at 724-774-1888. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all of your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. Also, get down to Just One More Sports Bar down there at 7th Avenue and 10th Street in downtown Beaver Falls.
Tomorrow is Wing Day. They have 6,423 million flavors.
42 flavors.
42. I always get that wrong.
Right. I like the Parmesan. I tried the Parmesan. It was really good.
They also have over 20 TVs, so you can watch all kinds of sports down there. So I'm kind of exhausted from that last segment. I mean, Scott was very animated about Mr. Babe Ruth, huh?
Hey, I like historic stuff. Another thing that happened is before we go into our picks, I wanted to say this because I'm
Matt's tallying up how bad you are behind me.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of zeros.
He's
how far behind
there.
you are.
He's laughing too. So anyhow, some historic things are happening in Major League Baseball this year. And it started out with Shohei Ohtani, and now it's switched to Ronald Acuna Jr., we had talked before, this is a guy who had struggled to make it into the major leagues, and now he's one of the greatest stars. And so I'm just going to read this thing that I got off the internet. Ronald Acuna Jr. this season and Ty Cobb in 1911 are the only players in Major League Baseball history to have 75 plus extra base hits and 60 plus stolen bases in the same season. What's the weird note on this is that they were both born on December 18th, 111 years apart. And so this actually kind of goes with what we were talking about, Ryan. And you hear us over there. I'm sure you're doing some tallying, but explain to me on what we were talking about athletes, why in 1911 they just weren't athletic, and it took all the way to now for someone to athletically accomplish what Ty Cobb did. And so I mean, I'm just trying to point out something to me that you can't, just because it was in the olden times doesn't mean they were old people back then. They were probably more athletic. I mean, Jesse Owen was an athletic.
They were tobacco farmers that went and played baseball or football on their off time.
Oh, my God.
A lot of them were, because professional sports wasn't what it is. It wasn't commercialized in the way. Listen, Scott, these people, they have to work out every day. They have to be at a certain level of athleticism to participate and be at the highest level of their game. Back then, these guys were. They were tobacco farmers. They were,
until last year.
No, in the early 1900s.
So how did this happen? How did this happen, Ryan, that it took this long for someone to do something that somebody did in 1911?
Because if I'm hitting off of a guy who isn't that good, that doesn't
Ty
pitch.
Cobb is not that good.
No, I mean, listen, you're not listening. If you're Ty Cobb and you're hitting off of somebody who is only as good as pitchers were in 1911, naturally it's going to take a long time for somebody to pass that, because the players.
I think the pitchers were better back in 1911. They pitched for 14 innings in 1916. You can't get one to go past 5 innings.
I don't know if that indicates that they're better or not, but the game has changed. I do agree with you.
Okay, I have a sports question for you guys, since you guys are talking about baseball.
It just ruins the records when you say things like that, Ryan. And I want to hold up the honor. I want to hold up the honor of the Mickey Mantles and the Joe DiMaggio's and
they do so. Don't get
all
me
these
wrong.
people that we now all of a sudden in this day and age, we're so much more athletic than they were back then that those records are just not that worthy, because you weren't pitching against the same people that these people are pitching against. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where to go with this. I
did have a question.
You opened up a quandary with me, though, and I'm going to do more research and come back at you and see if we can find out the stats of how fast these guys ran back then compared to how fast they run today.
You got to understand, the guys now work
weren't even running
around
the 4-minute mile.
Guys are professional athletes.
Who runs miles in baseball?
Guys who professional athletes, they prepare all the time. You will go to TJ Watt, for example, just one guy off the top of my head. All day he's working on his body. All week long he's working on his game. These guys didn't do that back then. They didn't have the luxury to do that because the money wasn't the same. It wasn't commercialized like it is now. It was a whole different sport back then. Again, guys were farmers. They would go play baseball because that's what they loved to do. Now you're working around the clock to be prepared for that next game.
I'm going to do some research. I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think they were. I think you saw a lot too much Hollywood in that. I think the guys that were playing for the Yankees, even if they weren't Babe Ruth, were training every day, and that's what their job was. They weren't out like, oh, I'm leaving New York City to go farm, and I'll be back in 2 days to play the next game. I just don't think that's the way it went. Anyhow,
I did have a question.
Let's go.
Okay, and it's baseball related, since you're talking about baseball. This is right before we're going to make our picks, right? Who knows if we'll have time for that this week. So my question is, if somebody is now hitting 45 home runs, has an on-base percentage of 343, has 100 RBIs, what would you think his batting average would be?
Oh, it's hard to say. That's probably could be anywhere, right? On-base percentage.
On-base percentage, 343, 45 home runs, 100 RBIs. What would you guess his batting average to be?
260.
Ryan?
I was
just based on the way you approach the question, I'm going to go low and say 260. It should be like 330.
I was counting up, but by the way I heard the question asked, I'm going to say that it's probably lower than one would expect.
196.
What?
Cal Schwarber of the Phillies is batting 196, producing 45 home runs, 100 RBIs, and his on-base percentage is 343.
So you're either walking this guy or he's hitting a dinger. Right. It's one or the other.
So that might be some sort of
is
record.
A lot. He's got 5 games left to at least get to Maris's record.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody even looks at the Maris record anymore. So this goes back to what we and you were talking about.
Because they're not athletic.
Because they're not athletic. Not because the ball or the bat's changed, or there's cork in the ball, or we're doing steroids. No, we're just better, more athletic, and we train harder.
I'm not disputing that.
Okay.
I do acknowledge the guy's juice.
We'll get off this subject. I don't want to argue with Ryan. I like him.
Hey, listen, I'm going to give you the results. We do only have 5 minutes till the next break. I realize this, so
Yeah,
maybe
we'll get through a little bit.
Maybe I'll give you the results of last week, and then we could get in and we'll use that last 15 minutes.
We'll start with this half because I don't think we'll get through it if we start next half.
How bad am I losing?
Last week's games, the games we just played, the week that the Steelers and the Raiders played.
Brian knows
the
already.
results of this week. Scott, you got 11 games correct.
Wow, that's a lot.
Brian, you got 10.
I gained a game, so I'm only down
the Cowboys let me down.
The Cowboys was one of the ones that let
Let's go. It's not rocket science.
Because you switched off. Brian, you took the Commanders for whatever reason against the Bills. And Scott, you took the Ravens, who lost to the Colts. Those 2 games evened each other out. And it came down to, basically it being that Cowboys-Arizona game that screwed Brian.
All right, so what we got? Well, who we got tomorrow night? I don't even know.
Tomorrow night, Lions and Packers, which should be a great
Lions
game.
and Packers.
Okay. Who's the first picker? Me?
Yeah, Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay, so
he cheats. Look at him cheating on his phone. Who is telling you? Who's in the crowd of Price is Right telling you $1?
No, I'm looking.
$1.
I'm just looking at the list because I know he's reading the same list as me in the same order. So I'm just looking at the list so I get a heads up and be prepared to know what he's talking about in case I don't understand it. He is a Yinzer.
All right.
So, Lions and Packers. I like the Packers in this game just because it's at home. I know they lost last week. They showed some weaknesses last week, but I like the Packers.
All right, Brian.
I'm going to start it off and go with the Lions.
That's great.
That's a great start.
It is.
It's going to be a great game. Second game on the list, guys, is the Atlanta Falcons and the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this one. It's your first pick now.
Now, the Falcons, they were 2-0. They dropped their first game last week. And the Jaguars was supposed to. They were heavy favorites over Houston. They lose to the Texans by 20 points, 37-17.
I like Jacksonville bouncing back, so I'm going to go with the Jaguars.
Just because I followed the South for so long, I know the Jaguars are 1 year off, 1 year on, 1 year off, 1 year on. Even though they got this quarterback, which I don't think he's that smart. And if you looked at his offseason moves, I just don't think he signed that big deal, didn't he? So I'm gonna stick with the Falcons.
All right.
So you're going Atlanta. Brian took Jacksonville.
Oh, I'm already winning this week.
Game
that
number
sounds
3.
like about 2-0 after this.
I tell you what, there's a lot of good games this week, guys. This is going to be a really interesting week. Game 3, we have the Rams at the Colts. Colts with the big upset over the Ravens.
I think me and him had the same pick here. I just think the Colts are a fluke last week, and I think the Rams just accidentally lost. So I'm going with the Rams.
Rams for Scott?
Give me the Colts. All day, baby.
All or nothing with you guys.
Right.
Next game, this is one of my favorite games of the week, of course, is an AFC battle between the Ravens at the Browns. Brian.
I'm going to go with the Ravens on the road. I hope I'm wrong, but
yeah.
I'm just going to pull from my Tamco rep here and hope that they destroy.
Oh, this is
Lamar.
great.
Every game has been different so far.
Right.
Awesome.
You know what? I really like this Cleveland defense. You guys got to admit what this defense is doing. It's doing.
I
some
think
good
it's going to
stuff.
come down to like field
They
goals
haven't
or
played
something.
anybody yet. It's preseason football for the Browns, including, and they lost the preseason game against the Steelers.
They're very similar. Both of these teams are
They
similar.
beat Cincinnati, but I think Cincinnati, that first game, that was like the almanac. They lose the first 2 games every year, and then Joe Burrow comes back.
I wish we could have got the Cincinnati Bengals in this period of time. We'll get him whenever he comes back healthy.
We actually do well. I think the Steelers do really well against Cincinnati and have against Burrow. So, I mean, I haven't looked at the stats to know for sure on that, but I think we do well.
They statistically do well against Watson, against Lamar Jackson, and they've done okay against Burrow. So
statistically, if you have the Steelers on your side, you're statistically across the board over the life of the NFL are doing pretty good. You have nothing to be ashamed of.
I would
or
agree.
Afraid of. And so
let's try to get a couple more in here, guys. I know that we do have the break coming up. The next game for us fellas is the Vikings at the Panthers. The Vikings, they got to get into the win column at some point. They have the quarterback has the most passing yards in the league. The receiver has the most receiving yards in the league.
Kirk Cousins has been playing lights out, and they can't get a win.
They're 0-3.
They had like 9 games like real close last year, and they won like every single one of them, and now it's the opposite. But I am going to take the Vikings.
All right, Brian takes Minnesota. Scott.
Scott's going to pick the same. Darn it. We had a run there for a minute.
It is.
All right.
I mean, I do like I like Young. I like it. That's going to be a good team down the road. I think they're building something. They lost some key players. They lost their Christian McCaffrey, and then so they're in a big rebound. And it seems like they're not as bad as you expected. But they're not going to tank. It looks like they're trying to get better.
Want to squeeze one more in?
No, let's hold that off. All right, so when we come back, we're going to be finishing up our picks. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3. You can check us out at Beaver County Radio Facebook Live, and we'll be back in 2 minutes.
When you talk about community involvement and safety, the name Fry stands at the forefront in Beaver County. Fry Transportation's mission is to continue to raise the bar as the gold standard in their industry by providing the safest, most reliable, and cost-efficient transportation service in Beaver County through their strong relationships with their communities, best-in-their-class drivers, equipment, and technology. There's nothing more important than the safety of their students, employees, and community members. Fry Transportation, where the quality of their organization is characterized by the makeup of the individual behind the wheel.
There's lots to look forward to this fall, and if your plans include long trips to see all the season has to offer, the Beaver Valley Auto Mall's Express Lane has just what you need to safely get you there. Get ready to roll this October while the Beaver Valley Auto Mall is offering the tire deal of 2023. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th tire for just $1. The time to save on tires at Beaver Valley Auto Mall is almost here, so mark your calendars now. It all begins in October for a limited time. Buy 3 tires and get the 4th for just $1. Right now, Beaver Valley Auto Mall is offering 3 oil changes for just $165. That's just $55 per visit. Yes, an oil change for just $55 for full synthetic happening right now. Everyone's saving at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall Express Lane in Monaca.
At Geneva College, your academic experience will prepare you with exceptional expertise in your chosen field. But what you'll learn is so much more than just that. Integrating faith and learning, you'll grow to see God's purpose and calling in your life's work. You'll be challenged to imagine how the world around you could be different and what your part might be in making that difference. You were made to live courageously. Visit geneva.edu today.
Hey, Peanuts! Welcome back to the Hey Peanuts Sports Show. I'm Brian Pasquale in the St. Barnabas studio here with co-host Scott Kincaid. We would like to thank our sponsors, Tamco Building Supplies, as well as TEK Roofing. Give Scott a call for all of your roofing needs at 412-969-1167. Also get down to Just One More Sports Bar on 7th Avenue and 10th Street in downtown Beaver Falls. Also, on Tuesday nights from 5 to 6, check out Ralph Williams and Smokin' Jim Frazier on Sports Corner from 5 to 6 every Tuesday. And Ryan,
yes, sir.
Tell everybody about your podcast.
Yes, the Two Dumb Yinzers podcast. You can check it out at www.thetwodumbyinzers.com. The2dumbyinzers.com, www.the2dumbyinzers.com. We are live 7 days a week at 11:30 a.m. on YouTube, and you can always pull it up in the podcast form. We put the new episode up every day over on Spotify. That is www.the2dumbyinzers.com.
Yeah, I've checked it out on YouTube, and it was real easy to find. It came right up.
Super
So if you
simple.
just put in 2 Dumb
Totally
Yinzers.
designed for you to do at lunch whenever you go to lunch.
Absolutely.
If you have one of those regular punch the clock type of jobs where 11:30 is lunch, you can punch that in, watch it on your phone, have some lunch. It's a really nice little.
And as you notice,
spot to
I
hear.
even stumbled by the co-host. He just changed our website. It's been www.2dumbyinzers forever. He just did add the because there were some changes. So it is www.
Is he from Ohio State?
He's from Ohio.
See?
Close
There you
enough.
go. That's all it takes.
The2dumbyinzers.com. Thanks, guys.
All right, so what are we going to do? We're going to finish
Well,
our picks, right?
We're looking
All
good,
right.
guys. Here we go. So the last game that we did was the
Speak for yourself, Ryan. I need a
You
shave.
notice the first time we did picks, he did picks, and then he did so bad he just eliminated
That's
himself
right.
from the picks.
That's right.
It's just you and I picking now.
Here we go, guys. The very next game is the Bengals at the Titans. This one is near and dear to Scott's heart. But who are you going to take, Scott?
You know what? The Titans are really, really bad. They're really bad. This is what I think is going to happen. I think to save his job, he's going to put in the kid, and I think Cincinnati is still kind of iffy. They didn't even look good in their win. They just barely won. Who'd they play? I forgot, but they just barely won. And it wasn't even a great team they beat.
The Rams.
The Rams. So, well, actually, the Rams are actually decent.
So
anyhow, they just didn't look to me that great. So I'm going to go on a whim, and I'm going to go backwards and pull the Titans. I think they're going to
Nice.
they're going to pull one. I think they're going to
That's
pull
what I was
one.
hoping you were going to say.
I think
Brian's pick.
Here's
I
another
think
win
they're-
for me.
I think their draft pick's going to hit the field. I hope so.
Well,
Tannehill's not going to do it. I just don't think he's not Kenny Pickett. He's not young coming up. He's old going out, and I think Vrabel is on the hot seat. And the first thing he's going to do is, before I get fired, you're going out. I'm at least going to go down with the new kid.
Brian, what say you? The Bengals
Joe
or the
Burrow,
Texans?
and they're going to start getting it going here, and they're going to start getting some wins.
Titans. Okay.
So I like the Bengals.
All right, Cincinnati. Scott, you took the Titans. Next game, fellas, the Buccaneers at the Saints. Buccaneers at the Saints. Brian.
I don't like either team, and whenever that happens, I usually just go with the home team. Maybe the crowd, disrupts and makes a false start or something. So I'll go with the Saints.
All right, Scott. Buccaneers at Saints.
I think this is an easy win for me. I'm going with the Bucks. The Bucks actually look good, and Saints are struggling right now. They, I don't know. They put in Jameson Winston's your new guy, and I don't know if that didn't work before. Derek Carr was supposed to save that situation, and he seems to be hurt. I don't know if he's coming back.
Sprained his shoulder. He will be out this week.
Oh, he's out?
Yeah.
Right, so I totally picked the Bucks. Too late. You already made your pick. Next
I'm
one.
not trying
Next
to change
one.
it.
I do want to say, though, the Buccaneers were in a really...
Is that in the rule book?
That was a Monday night game that the Buccaneers played the Eagles, and the 25-11 score was the first time that score
Ever? That's odd.
Ever been made.
ever been recorded in the NFL.
What was it?
That's crazy.
25
I
to
saw
what?
that stat.
25-11.
25-11. I guess.
Never had.
I guess
think
that is odd.
We had an 11-10 over San Diego about 10 years ago, which was the first time. I think anytime you put 11 in there, it's going to be pretty rare.
And you go to the little New Year's Eve party, you put your little dime on the little chart or whatever, and I always get the 5 and the 1.
Yeah.
And that's why I never win.
Yeah.
The what party?
You know what I'm talking about? Where you
No.
the
Edmonds
grid,
party,
you get a
Brian.
little grid, you pick a
Edna's
squares.
party?
Squares. The square game or whatever. You put a dime on it or a quarter.
I have
and
no idea what you're talking about.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know that the next
It's like a
game is
grid.
the
It goes
Dolphins
0
and the
to
Buffalo
10, 0 to
Bills.
10, up
And this
and down.
game should be very good. This game is in Buffalo. Unfortunately for Buffalo, it's not cold and snowy for this game because the Dolphins, you would think, would have a disadvantage slightly. But this game, guys, Dolphins at Buffalo this week. What do you think? 70 points.
Is it my turn?
Let's go. Yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Hey, the Dolphins are going to win this game. I just don't see how anybody's going to pick against them if you've watched them play. The only way this doesn't go the Dolphins' way is if Tua gets hurt. And then we'll see who their backup is. The backup is who? I don't know.
That's a good question.
I haven't even looked, and nobody's worried about it. But, 700 yards in a game.
That's
70
Madden
points,
numbers.
7 touchdowns. He's going to break Brady's record. Or Manning's, whichever one it
He's
is
going to do
now.
something pretty amazing.
Both of them.
Brian, what do you think?
All right, so the Dolphins. What if the Dolphins go 20-0 and break the Dolphins' undefeated record?
I know,
that would be great.
Well, let me ask you real quick. Does that anger the 72 Dolphins, or are they cheering them on
That's
to
going
go
to anger
undefeated?
them. They're so selfish. They don't care.
Okay.
So everything went right for the Dolphins this last week. The Bills have looked kind of skittish, especially Allen and his. But I said that I am going to pick the Dolphins as long as Tua is healthy, and I'm going to stick with that.
Okay.
That's good. That's smart.
The Denver Broncos, who just got beat by 50 points against Miami, they're going to Chicago to play a team that hasn't won since the Chase Claypool trade. Brian, who do you like?
Alabama or Auburn or somebody.
If it wasn't for me and Brian picking each other, I would not care.
Right.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't care.
This
I
is
think I
back
have
to
to
home
keep-
team. I got to go home team.
Go with the Bears.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
Bears.
I'm not going to go. Did you see the comments that was it Sean McDermott? That's his name, right? The coach. Comments he made over the course of before the game of last week, after our show last week, he made some comments
About our show?
No. No, but if he keeps behaving this way, he'll be lucky to get a show like our show because he's just deplorable. And I don't know why. Did you watch the game with the Dolphins?
You know what? I did not watch that particular game.
So the record for the most points ever scored is 73.
Right.
They had the ball with plenty of time on the 26-yard line to kick the field goal, and the classy move, was it McDaniels? Is that his name?
You've already scored 70.
He did the classy
Who cares
thing.
about Flash? You scored 70 already. You might as well go for the record, right?
Well, he did the classy thing and didn't
Is
do
it
it.
really
And then
classy?
he got bashed from both sides. He got bashed for running the score up, and then he got bashed for not completely running it up to make it a record. The poor guy can't win here on that end as far as the
he
social
won.
media. He just
He won by 50.
points, right? But, I mean, I don't know. I just thought it was an interesting thing. Sean McDermott just doesn't – he's not – I don't know. He should have quit after the Hollywood movie.
So
Did
Broncos
Scott make a pick?
at Bears. Broncos
did.
at Bears. So you're taking the Broncos.
No, the Bears. No.
How dare you?
No, I'm not going to take the
Somewhere
guy.
in
I
all
don't
that,
support.
I thought that
you
I
know,
heard
I
it.
used to have a soft spot for the Broncos, but now that he's there and after seeing what he's talked about, and then the allegations, there was a reason why he was suspended for a year, and he got to make a movie over it.
Peyton.
I mean, come on, people. We celebrated the fact that he got suspended and
All
went
right.
on and coached a little league team, and I don't know.
An NFC East matchup this week, guys. The 2-1 Washington Commanders and the 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles. Scott, who do you like in this game, Commanders or Eagles?
I like the Commanders.
Okay.
Sweet. That's another win for me. Go Eagles.
All right, Philadelphia for Brian.
I can't stand the Eagles. Though.
You may or may not recognize, be familiar with these two teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers at the Houston Texans. Brian.
What were the teams again?
Oh, my God.
I think, honestly,
This is the last game?
No.
This is not the tiebreaker then.
No, there's about 4 more
I
games.
thought the Steelers game was always going to be the tiebreaker on score.
Well, we can do that as a tiebreaker if you'd like, but there is still 4 more games we have to pick. And we have
I know, but I
4
mean,
minutes.
like every week we were going to do the tiebreaker was the Steeler game, and
We
you
could
get
do
the
that.
score. So that should be the last one we do. So go to the next one. We'll
All
get
right,
back to
let's-
the Steelers.
Raiders Chargers. Raiders at LA.
Is it my turn?
Let's go, Scott. Yeah.
Yeah, Chargers going to win this one, hands down.
All right.
Even though they moved north, I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Okay. Next game, Cardinals, who just upset the Cowboys against arguably the strongest team in the NFL at this moment, San Francisco 49ers. Cardinals at San Fran. Brian.
I mean, this is a no-brainer. I don't see Dobbs doing anything against that defense.
Scott. Arizona at San Francisco.
He's baiting me over here. Like, you just know you want to pick him.
He
You know
went to
you
Tennessee,
do.
so I like him.
So what would you pick me if it was the Cowboys against the Niners right now?
I would love to watch that game right
Yeah, but
now.
who would you pick?
I would
It could
pick
be
San
either
Francisco.
or. It could be either or.
First off, where is it
And
at?
what was the score of the Arizona Cowboy game? It was pretty far apart.
28-16, give or take?
No, I think it was like 10-30, wasn't it?
It
No, I don't
was
think it was that.
28-16. We have 3 minutes, guys. Still 3 games to pick.
Cardinals.
You want Arizona
I'm
over
going to
San
take
Francisco.
Cardinals. I'm just going to do it just to make this week the most interesting picks
I
of
totally
all
get that.
picks.
New England Patriots at Dallas. Scott.
I think Dallas bounced. I can't pick Dallas. So, Patriots.
Oh,
I'm
interesting.
never going to pick Dallas.
Brian.
The Cowboys.
I'm sorry, the Chiefs at Jets. Chiefs at Jets, Brian.
I think the Jets are just in a tailspin. I see them being just horrible, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Chiefs at Jets, Scott.
Yeah, I have to take the Chiefs because of Zach Wilson.
2 more games. Seattle at the Giants. Seahawks at Giants, Scott.
Seattle wins it easily. That's a walk-off.
I'm going to go with Seattle.
That's a boring game.
I want to see what uniforms they wear. What game was it? It was Oregon. I watched the Oregon game for like 3 plays. Their uniforms are always awesome.
Always. It seems like they switch every week.
Did you see that they had that uniform that changes like the car? You seen the car that changes colors?
Yes.
So they had this uniform, and the NFL won't let them use it.
All right.
We have the very last game, guys. This is the Steelers at the Texans. I'm going to start with Brian. Brian, Steelers at Texans.
I feel like it could be a total upset and the Texans could win, but I'm liking the Steelers scoring 23 and the Texans 17.
Scott. Steelers at Texans and your score.
I like the Steelers to win this one in a squeaker. In a seriously squeaker in a low-scoring game, I think it's going to be another weird score, 11-9. Three field goals are going to be involved on.
Not a bad pick because if it comes down to without going over, you have a total of 20 points. Brian, you have a total of 40 points. That is my job. I'm going to send it back to you, Brian. Do your thing.
Well, it was a great show. I had fun. There was a lot of bantering, which is great. It's just like we're sitting at a bar or just 2 buddies just talking about sports, and in this case, 3, I guess. So it was a fun show.
One more sports bar later in Beaver Falls, corner of 10th and 7th, and I'd love to continue the banter. I'll be down there having me a sandwich or something. I haven't decided what I'm going to have tonight.
All right. Well, we will be back next week from 4 to 6. You've been listening to WBVP 99.3. Have a good one.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, Brian.
TEK Roofing Specialists are known for quality, honesty, and efficiency. You can reach them at 412